English doesn't have to be your focus. You got to use English to learn about something else.
Hello, hello. I'm so happy to have today Margarita. I'm sure that you are going to understand why I asked her to come here. As soon as she starts talking, you will know. So, Margarita, it's a pleasure for me to have you here today. So, can you tell us a little bit about you first?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks so much for having me because, well, it's such an honor to be interviewed by anyone, especially someone so bright and fun like yourself. I've been really enjoying your videos in the influencer community, and the moment you messaged me and asked to be part of your own kind of vision, I was thrilled and excited, and I'm like, I can't really express how much I'm grateful to be here today. So my name is Margarita. I'm 25 years old and I've been learning English for quite some time.
Okay, and I'm going to start. First, she said only Margarita, but I was checking, and usually, so you're from Russia, yes?
Yes, I am from Russia.
And usually, Russian, you have like three names or more than that. I don't know. So, are you just Margarita? I think you have more names.
We have a thing called Отчество, which is like our father's name. So we go by name, our father's name, and then the last name. But we use it only in official situations, in documents. So generally speaking, we have one name, our father's name, and the last name.
And can I know your complete name?
Sure. Margarita Romanovna Popova.
Oh my goodness. And that looks amazing. Like so polite. So I like that. So,
Yeah,
talking about cultures, they are our roots. And
exactly. Yeah.
so when I was watching, because when I start, uh, I'm going to tell you a little bit why I pick up Margarita. Margarita, we are taking some challenge, or we took some challenge together, and every time that she starts speaking, it was her voice. Her voice for me was beautiful. So, and I know that you speak French, you speak Russian, and English. Are you fluent in the three of them?
Well, Russian, obviously.
Yes.
With French, it was the first foreign language I started learning as a kid in school. But I wouldn't say I'm fluent. I think the peak of my abilities was somewhere around the age of 16 or 17. And then I kind of, it has gotten a little rusty. So if I had to speak right now in French, it would take me a minute to figure out what to
Okay,
say.
but it's
Yeah,
only a minute. I'm sure about that, because I believe like when you learn one language, finally it's there. It's just
yeah,
sometimes you just need to start practicing, and then you will get it. So that's great.
exactly. Yeah, I just haven't practiced in a while, but yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit how English starts? So you start learning English at school?
Yeah, so we basically had two foreign languages in school. One we started learning at the age of like 8 or 9, and then the second one came when I was 12. And English was the second foreign language I started learning, I should say. But you know how they teach languages in schools, right? Something's not right there because people end up not being able to speak at all. Like
Yeah, they
we
miss
read
an
grammar
important
books.
part.
Exactly. We kind of learn languages to be able to communicate, but at the end of the day, you're like, in the end, we can't. So I started learning English in school, but I would say that the most progress happened for me in the past couple of years because I really took my time to sit down and figure out what would help me to actually speak.
But I have a question. So you came to the US to have
Yes.
an exchange. I did my homework.
Yeah, you did. I'm impressed. Yeah. The moment you said to me that you rewatched all of my videos, I was like, wow, she's serious about this interview. I'm
Yeah.
honored to have such attention on me.
Yeah, but that can create a good conversation if we know a little bit more. For me, that's important. So you came to the United States, yes, for an exchange.
Yeah, so when I was in college, they had this exchange program uh, with the US college, and I applied. I didn't think much of it. I was like, okay, whatever. I will send my application and we'll see how it goes. But I didn't expect them to pick me actually. And I got super stressed when I got chosen because my English wasn't, it was enough to read and write academic style, but I was not very fluent in speaking. And it became the huge challenge for me at the time because I remember sitting in class, not being able to say much, feeling very isolated after class. So academically speaking, it was such a wonderful experience, but socially speaking, it was a disaster. I didn't make many friends, and I don't know, it was just very confusing to me.
Oh, wow. And that was for how long?
It lasted 1 semester, so I spent 4 months in the US.
Wow. And so that experience, so I'm sure that usually painful experiences
It is,
make
yeah,
us
it
grow
was
more.
painful.
Yes. So what are the results? So what are the learning points there at the end? Because usually at
Um,
the moment you just feel embarrassed, or not embarrassed, but you feel uncomfortable. And so what about after?
no, there was a lot of embarrassment actually. I remember this one particular case when I mixed up two words, and so instead of saying sparkling water, I said sprinkling water, which is like a totally different meaning. And
Mhm.
I remember the lady who I was talking to, she kind of giggled, and I felt so embarrassed at the moment. And I said, sorry, I didn't mean to. And she was like, no, you don't have to apologize. But so she was nice, but her kind of initial emotional response made me super uncomfortable. And I wanted to, shut up and never speak English ever again.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, but I think, I don't know, I'm grateful for the experience anyway, because it is it kind of shows the areas you need to work on. For me, it was speaking, definitely, but also this is like this point you can always come back to and see how much progress you have actually made. So on a day when I don't feel that great, I sometimes come back to that experience and realize that, well, actually, I'm able to speak right now with you, something I wasn't able to do like a few years back. So I guess it's
Yeah,
all
and
good.
I figure, or I think like that kind of mistakes, when you make mistakes in front of the camera, in front of another person, so afterward, so you are going to see, you are you have you are not going to forget that mistake,
Exactly.
because
Yes.
that was something important that creates connection, creates bad moments sometimes, but then you will never forget. So it's not a mistake that you are going to repeat again. So sometimes mistakes are good. So
Yeah, I think so. It's a very wise, balanced approach. Well, we won't forget because a certain unpleasant emotional reaction is tied to it too. But also it's like a great way to, yeah, to never repeat the same mistake, because I will never, confuse these two words again, because
yes.
I remember too damn well how it felt.
Yeah. Yeah, and that happened to me, when I start recording, sometimes I make mistakes, and I figure now that if I repeat the video, even if I correct it, then after that, so I will make the same mistake. But if I don't repeat the video and I leave the mistake there, I will never do again. Because I feel,
Yeah,
okay, it's now in my memory and I don't want to repeat it again. So that's true. That's true. Okay. How do you use your English? Because I was watching your Instagram and you do in English. So you use English there. So tell
yes.
me about that,
Sure, yeah.
about the English. So how you use your English at home? Do you speak English?
No, we don't speak English at home. I mainly use it for work. So I'm an artist and I work internationally with all sorts of clients. I did not intend my page to be, my work platform when it started, but it kind of turned out to be it kind of developed in a way that made it my work. But yeah, when I started, I just wanted a place to escape, and I thought that the best way to escape would be to, you know, write all the captions in a foreign language. And then I kind of began posting my art, and it grew, and I got a couple of people interested in commissions. And it turned out that, you know, running your page in English is a great, you know, business tool, but I had no idea. I was like just doing whatever felt right at the moment. And yeah, I end up kind of working as a freelance artist, and I mainly use English for work, but also I communicate with my friends abroad. So it's both kind of part of my work life and my social connections outside work.
Wow, and you know, I love your art. So I
Oh,
want
thank you.
you to go. I want you to go to her links. I'm dropping here the links because are beautiful. Are so she takes some, she paint, she draw, and she creates stories with music. Oh, that's impressive. It's beautiful, and
Thank you so much.
you're wrong, but it's real. It's like magical. It's like you put something very simple in something very deep. And I was astonished. I was, wow, what is, how can we just create that? And I'm going to tell you. So I heard some story about a dream that she had. Margarita has a dream, and in her dream, she was personalized another person. She was inside of another person. And when I was watching your videos, so you are the same. So the dream related with your job, it's almost the same. It's like you go inside of a character and then you start developing a story. Can you
Well,
tell us a little about that?
I never thought about that particular dream in this way, but maybe yeah, you're right. You're getting something right here, I think. I don't know. It's difficult to, you know, analyze my own workflow or my own kind of creative process, but I think you're right. I've always been super interested in psychology, and human nature is just fascinating to me. So if there's anything from psychology or philosophy in my work, I think it's not coincidence, because these are the things I'm just naturally drawn to, and maybe parts of it just appear in my personality. I don't know. It's difficult to, you know, to
Yes,
analyze
true.
myself, because
Yeah.
I don't see myself as you do.
Okay, I want to talk. I like to really connect the Russian part with the English part. Why? Because are two different languages. How difficult is for a Russian person to learn English? So, what was easier, even if you said like you start learning French when you were 8 years old? So, with English, what's more difficult for what was more difficult, English or French?
I would say that English was a bit easier, simply because it was like one more language on top of the language I was already learning. So they have certain similarities. Vocabulary wise, English derives a lot of its vocabulary from French. So it
Mhm.
was kind of a bit of it was helpful for me to know, to have some basic understanding of French vocabulary and grammar. But in terms of English, what was the main? I think maybe pronunciation, but it is difficult for anyone because it's just a separate language, and you got to
And it
learn
sounds like
how
it's
to.
difficult for you in English. Sounds.
Yeah, sounds, just different accents, pronunciation. I wouldn't say the grammar caused me a lot of trouble. I mean, there are certain difficult aspects, of course, I still struggle with, but generally speaking, I think maybe accents was a bit of a struggle
When you
first.
said accent, what do you talk? Like certain vowels, certain
Well, first of all,
or
understanding other people, because English has such a huge variety of accents, and native speakers can speak very differently. And so at a certain point, I just got really into accents, and I was deliberately exposing myself to all sorts of accents, like Scottish, Irish, different accents of the US, to kind of get acquainted, to get used to certain sounds.
Probably for
This
you
was a
it's
challenge.
easier the UK English.
I wouldn't say it's easier, and most of my friends actually come from the US. I wouldn't say I have many friends from the UK, but I know at this point both are okay. Like, I can understand a variety of accents from both parts of the world.
Do you dream in what languages?
This is such a great question, because sometimes I dream in English. Yeah, well, I'll have it. I would occasionally have a dream where I speak English, and I usually do it like fluently without hesitation. I'm so fast and efficient in how I use the language. It happens sometimes. I sometimes chat in English. Yeah. Do you have dreams in English?
Yes, yes, yes. But now, so like, I don't know, probably 2 years ago, I start. So once I start practicing and working and working and working, so yes. But before was difficult, and that's something that usually you dream. You dream. You want. Oh yes, I want to start dreaming in English. So that's great.
I remember the first time I had a dream in English, and I woke up being like, "Wow, it never happened before." I remember in that dream I was inviting someone to have a cup of coffee with me. I don't know
Wow.
why I remember, but I remember it's like just said it so fluently in my dream, and I woke up impressed.
Yes, and that at that point you said, "Wow, I'm doing a great job." So I'm very
Yeah,
proud of myself, and you should. That's great. Your dad. Can I ask about your dad? Your dad.
sure.
I think it's a really he created a big impact on your life, especially I think books, philosophy.
Yeah, he did, and it happens to be that I'm sitting right now in his office, because I sometimes, ask if I can spend some time in his office. It's the quietest room in our house. Yeah, and all the books you see behind me are his. I've never read those, so I'm not that smart. But yeah, he was a big influence on me. Yeah, he was one of the first people, as I said in one of the videos in the 30-day speaking challenge. He was one of the first people who was open to discuss heavier topics with me, and I was always interested in kind of philosophical concept. Even as a child, I asked all sorts of questions, and he was very open and sometimes vulnerable to discuss things such as, I don't know, life and death, or like the meaning of life, or God and faith. I don't know, all sorts of. So he was my number one, intellectual influence, I think, growing up.
Does he speak another language?
He speaks English, yes, he
Do
does.
you speak English with him?
Only if we are in a group of native speakers. So if we are in a situation where everybody speaks English, but at home we don't. No,
You don't. And your mother, does she speak English?
no, she doesn't know.
Okay. So with your dad. Yeah, that's weird. So when I start learning English, I came with my son. And usually he didn't like to speak with me. I think was kind of, Mom, we don't need to do this, okay?
Yeah, I think it feels weird,
Awkward.
unnatural. I remember awkward. Yeah, I remember in my college we had classes in English, even in Russia. So we were my college was very close. They were kind of inspired by the American educational system, and they taught classes in English. And I remember feeling super weird in one of the classes, because the teacher was Russian, and we usually communicated in Russian, but the premise of the class was that it was a class in English, and we kind of all performed and acted as if we were English speaking group of people, but we all knew too damn well that we were Russian, and we don't know, it felt weird, even though the level of English of that particular teacher was like phenomenal. He did his PhD in Oxford, so like he was very fluent, but still it felt so weird, because I mean, I'm Russian, you're Russian, what are we doing here?
Wow, something that surprised me about Russian, it's like I was thinking always, I don't know why I have that in my mind, but that Russian, it's a not tough, but it's a strong language. Like
Yeah.
people are, you go directly. You,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's right. I don't know why I have this. And when
No.
I start talking to you, or when I start listening your videos, I said, "Oh my goodness, she's so sweet. She's so calm." And I'm going to tell you something that I learned from you was that, like, I was so energetic. So every time that I start speaking, I was just loud, and I said, "No."
But this is why we like your videos, because of your energy, because of what type of energy you bring into your videos.
Yeah, yes, but also I love your style. So I said, Linda, can you try to speak just calm down? Look, think about Margarita, and you can just start. And I said, well, that was difficult for me,
Well,
but
I
I
had no
learned.
idea.
But I like. So, do you think you have two personalities? So, how's your personality when you speak Russian or when you speak English?
This is such a great question, because for the longest time, I was feeling like I was faking my personality in English. But first, I wanted to go back to your remark about Russian language. One of the most frequent feedback I get uh, from my foreign friends when they hear me speaking Russian with my mother or like with my family is that they always say, it feels like you're always fighting. And I'm like, no, no, we don't fight. It's just maybe the rhythm, maybe the sounds, but no, we're not fighting. But yeah,
So
in
that means
terms of
like I'm right.
yeah, I think so. I think you're onto something here. Yeah, I think our expressiveness in Russian, or like the rhythm and the way we produce sounds, is a bit more harsh than, let's say, in English. But yeah, in terms of personalities, um, I definitely had trouble understanding what type of personality I am in English, and I would say I'm a little bit more goofy, silly when I speak English, because I'm trying to hide possibly my nervousness when I speak in a foreign language, and I become this super goofy, silly kind of clown sometimes. Uh, but as I go, I realize that there's not much difference between my English speaking self and my Russian speaking self, because even in Russian, I am, well, I received feedback from people who said that I have a calm personality, so possibly I'm just becoming more and more myself in English as I go.
Yes, and that happened to me also in the beginning. I was probably so shy, but I don't think was shy. I was just listening, and that's beauty.
Yes,
When you
very
start,
concentrated face when you're trying to understand what others are saying.
yes, and yeah, I like that. So when did you start knowing that you were more confident in your English, that you were more fluent?
Uh, I would say I'm still not quite there. I'm
You
still
don't
not
you don't
confident.
feel like you are fluent when you speak
No,
English?
well, I guess I've reached a certain, comfortable place where I can more or less discuss pretty much anything in English, but still there's this voice inside me that says that, you know, there's so much more you could be doing. And I don't know, fluency, maybe confidence, I'm not sure. I'm still very much self-conscious when it comes to my English.
Okay, here is my question. Do you, yeah, and my question is because for me, when I start doing videos every day, and when I start listening and watching all the comments, that was a surprise for me. Like I could get attention, not because it was attention, but it was like, okay, my words are just resonating with someone. And that was a surprise for me. I didn't expect that. And when I was watching you, because I was in her process, so many people in the challenge that you cannot watch everybody because the time is precious. And even if you spend a lot of time doing, scrolling down and you
Yes.
enjoy doing that, but I don't know if it was coincidence about our time or something, but but I saw that in the beginning that happened to you too, that you start, oh my goodness, so I didn't expect this. It right, I'm right or I'm wrong?
Yes, you're right. The feedback was very reassuring, but also surprising because I don't know, it's just not something I'm used to. And it was overwhelmingly positive. And I was like, okay,
Yes,
great.
yes. And creating videos, making videos and exposing yourself outside, it's such a huge step in your English process. And I don't know if that happened to you, but for me, I was comparing when the kids start asking for everything.
Mhm.
I feel like it's the same when you are speaking. When you start speaking in another language, you get more confident and you have more questions and you want to know more. And also, probably you want more attention from other people. Not the attention is, I can speak, I'm able to speak, so we can have more conversations. Yes?
Yeah, this longing for connection because I can finally reach out to you and we can connect on a level that was previously hidden from me. Now I can, connect. Let's connect. Yeah, there's this enthusiasm that arises from being able to speak a different language, definitely.
And besides that, what did you get from the challenge, from to recording every day a video? So
I would say my favorite part of the challenge was watching other people speaking because, as you said, it's impossible to watch everyone because so many people participated. But I really like this realization that we're actually all on the same page in terms of our struggles, but also our, exciting moments, and we kind of this feeling of togetherness and kind of the realization that we are on the same journey was very helpful because up to that point I had been feeling quite isolated in my journey. I was like, yeah, I know other people learn languages too, but I never had a community to of people to connect with. And then the moment I decided to enter the challenge, I realized that this is what I've been missing all this time.
Margarita, do you have siblings?
I do. I'm a second child of four, so I have a sister and two brothers.
Okay. And so you are in the middle. So, but
Yeah.
how many years between
Uh,
all of
so I
you?
have I have an older sister. She's 3 years older than me. Then my brother, he's 6 years younger, and the youngest, we're 15 years apart.
15?
Yes.
Wow, that's long. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
something that caused me curiosity was like sometimes you felt invisible, like, or your isolation. So it's because it's part of your personality. It's part of, I don't know. So it's that caused me curiosity. I don't know if I'm going deep or if
No,
that's a
I don't
point.
mind. I like deep dives. I'm very, as I said, I'm very into psychology, and when I get psychoanalyzed, I get super excited. Uh, so yeah, I think you're right. I'm not sure it's directly linked to my siblings or like my family situation, but it's mostly my personality. Growing up, I was always a timid child. I was always shy, and the worst thing that could happen to me was to be a center of attention. I hated it growing up. When I went to school at the age of 7, as we do in Russia, I was terrified. I hated to, reply to teachers' answers, and I was good at school. I was getting good grades, but when it came to, you know, speaking part, even in my native language, I hated it. I just leave me alone. I was feeling always kind of wanting to protect my little inner world, and I didn't want to, let other people in. So yeah, I would say it's part of the challenge in life and also part of my personality to be able to, come out of my shell and connect with others.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I could figure that in your videos. And that was, I was thinking, wow. So how she can confront when she start getting attention, because everybody love her videos. So I love her videos. I was thinking, wow, if I were a child, I would love like she start reading um, books, stories, because yeah, it's something in your, it's your melody, it's the vocabulary that you use, is the way that you express. um I don't know, it's, I like and I think many people like, and then when I start digging on you, um, I was just taking different parts, like the music that you like, the blues, the with the poetry, with the philosophy, with the humor. You said something that I would like you to expand a little bit. You said you are not funny, you're silly.
Yes, I think
So
so.
I think your humor is special, and you know that. So I think you know who you are. So what's coming? So what do you think is coming in your life? You are created for something big, so something, I don't know, big, it's something. I think you need to be exposure. I think people need to know you. I don't know how, or but I think you have many things to tell to the world, and that's part of why English is so important for me, because you are not isolated. You are part
Yeah.
of this world, and you come to do something. What do you think you came? You are so young, but do you think you know your purpose?
Um, I don't know. I think I'm more of a take one day at a time person. So I'm not sure I have this bigger vision for myself when I, know exactly what I'm doing. Most of the time, I have no idea what I'm doing in life, but I have quite a strong, kind of inner guidance. So I get this very distinct feeling when I do something that doesn't align with me. I don't think I have words for that, but I definitely have this inner guidance that maybe for some reason is part of my bigger calling. I don't know, but I try to, as someone who's into philosophy, one of the problems I have is that I get stuck in my head. And so I'm mostly trying to get grounded and think less of a bigger concepts and do more, in my day-to-day life. So this is why I'm not sure I have words prepared to describe what type of, I don't know, situations I see myself as part of, but I'm super grateful for everything you just said, because well, this is a real pep talk. This is like if you wanted to boost your confidence, you gotta schedule a call with Linda, and she will she
No, but
will make you feel
no, but
great
you
about yourself.
no, but you sometimes you need to recognize, and that's something that I like when I why I'm doing this, because I really want to connect with people, and English is bringing me this connection. So I will never think that I will here speaking with someone from another part of the country, even whatever time it is here or whatever time is there. So that's kind of connection that I don't want anybody to miss. Some people tell me, Linda, I'm not good for languages. And I said, that's not true. If you see what is at the end, you will start working on that right now.
Yeah.
And I love this. I really love this, and I try, yeah, to find, everybody's the same, so everybody has the same feelings, everybody has the same fears. Um, so it's just a different kind of, even we have different cultures. At the end, we are the same people.
Yeah.
So yeah, what? Sorry, but
Well,
yeah, I
no, don't apologize. This is what makes you like wonderful, amazing, and very unique, because you really see this spark in people that maybe they are unaware of, and you're very supportive in the comments in the influencer community, but also just in general from the way you interact with the world. I derive a lot of inspiration because you're very open. You have this childlike curiosity about everything and everyone. And then you're also very honest and like kind of straightforward when it comes to saying something, like telling about something you see. And like the job you're doing with this like interviews, but also just in general as you go day by day, as you know, as you meet different people. I don't know, you're such an inspiration for me. So thank you so much. The moment you reached out to me, I was like, what? This is exciting, because you were definitely one of the people I wanted to connect on a deeper level. So yeah.
Now you're my friend, so we will be connected more time. I promise. I promise. Margarita, can I ask you something? So, now that you speak English, what is the difference for you between Margarita speaking with other people in English and speaking fluent English? I still think like you are very fluent. Probably not to the point that you want, and that's perfect, because that's also the same in Russian. I'm sure that you will still have things to work, and sometimes people speak about some words or something, and you said, oh, I don't use this word many times or whatever. But what is the difference between Margarita knowing English in the same way that you're working now or using now, and Margarita before English? I'm talking about your inner self. So
I think my English speaking self has taught me that it's okay to take space, and it's okay to to make people listen to you, because prior to exposing myself like that, prior to like expressing myself in a different language that adds an additional level of kind of anxiety and frustration, I would rather not speak at all than say something. But in a foreign language, the stakes are higher and you're more nervous, but also you got to be more how do I say this? You got to be more sure about yourself and the things you want to say to deliver the message, because it is easier for you to be misunderstood. So you got to be more serious about things you have to say, and to be able to do that, you got to be sure that what you have to say is valuable. And most of my life I spent thinking that, oh, whatever I have to say is not valuable, it's not important. And I think English opened this, it kind of ignited this spark in me. No, it's like I have something to say, and I'm going to try and say it, and not to force people to listen to me, but just to
I will be
be
loud
more,
enough.
yes, I would be loud enough to be heard. Yeah, exactly. So I think this is the main difference.
Wow, wow. And in terms of learning, so what do you think between before, so with this experience to learn English and to speak in the same way, in the way that you are doing right now, so how was Margarita before and Margarita now in terms of learning?
I think in terms of learning, my main kind of lesson was that you gotta be more relaxed. You don't have to know everything at once, kind of everything already. You, again, one step at a time, one day at a time. And I don't know, I think this ability to speak came to me when I just relaxed, when I just started using English in a way that is enjoyable. I just watched a bunch of videos on subjects that were interesting to me, and this is how most of the vocabulary came. But then I just naturally started to connect with people with similar interests. It kind of made it necessary for me to communicate. So I don't know, it's just the main lesson was to just relax and enjoy the process.
That could be one of the first tips. So if I ask you 3 tips for people that are learning English, so one is relax.
Yes, this is number one. Just don't, everything is fine. Don't push yourself too hard. Another tip would be, I guess, English doesn't have to be your focus. You got to use English to learn about something else. This is how the language will come to you. This is was a huge revelation for me too.
And you start learning, watching videos on YouTube, learning about what?
Yes. So it kind of coincided with the rise of YouTube. So I started watching YouTube videos when vlog types of videos became popular. So I just watched a bunch of American and British vlogs of people just filming their life. Also just educational content about art or history, or I don't know, just music, something like that. So yeah.
And
And I
now
have
sorry.
sorry.
No,
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
just
You're my
just
guest.
wanted to say that I just wanted to say that I have my French experience to compare with. So I was learning French the way they teach in schools, which is just by reading a bunch of grammar books, just reading a lot. And my experience with English is so different because it started from listening, and it was, I think, again, it was a huge revelation for me to understand that in order to learn a language, you got to use it in a way that you will be using it in the future, meaning like listening to a bunch of different people and trying to formulate your own ideas.
Yeah. When you are doing your research for any type of task that you need, in what language do you pick the research? English, Russian, French?
It depends. It depends, but these days I prefer English, I would say, because just there are so many more English resources that can be useful. So English is very helpful when it comes to research.
Are all the books that you have behind you are in Russian?
Most of them are, yes, because this is my father's, my dad's
And what
books.
about reading? When you read, do you read in English or do you read in?
When it comes to reading and journaling, by the way, I mostly do it in Russian. And I wouldn't say I don't read as much as I'd like to. I sometimes pick an English book, but I wouldn't say that reading is a huge portion of my, English learning journey.
But I thought you read a lot or no? So I think I have in my mind like Russian people like to read the music, the art, like ballet or something.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess it's a kind of it depends on who you compare me to. I mean, I don't feel like I read much, but maybe it's like much for someone else. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, and you said all the time that you are not nerd, and I agree with that. Okay, so, but I think you have a kind of nerd there, a little bit, probably when you were.
Yeah, and I'm trying to embrace this part of myself. Yeah, I'm certainly a nerd in some ways.
And I love that. So I was a bad student when I was at school in the elementary and high school. So yeah, that was bad. Bad is bad. But I think now I'm nerd and and I'm proud of that. So I love books. I love to learn. I love curiosity. So that's good.
Yeah, you see, I'm kind of the opposite. So I was an A+ student. And after graduation, I just realized that I need to embrace more of my, I don't know, punk rock personality, more of a crazy things in life. So I don't associate myself with education as much anymore, because for the longest time in my life, it was the only thing that basically I could, like, the only context I could describe myself in. And I just really wanted to explore life outside education
and also because
school
you are
and learning.
young. I think you are young and you deserve a rest. Rest time. In my case, that was the opposite. So right now I said, no, I just want to learn. I want to learn more, read. So everything that comes into my mind, I just want more. So that's, I think our stages in life, like for me, sometimes I think, oh my goodness, I'm over 50s. So that means like I don't have a lot of time. Yes. So, but you're still young. So that's good.
Yeah. I love learning, but I guess I'm just at this point in my life where, I need to have a bit more fun. I've been learning for too long I've been learning my entire life. I need to explore all sorts of aspects.
I don't want, so what inspired you to draw?
I was always creative, child. Growing up, I liked to draw, and after college, I just realized that I'd like to spend more time exploring my creativity, and this is how my Instagram page came to be. So yeah, it's just a natural part of who I am. I can't even pinpoint one particular moment to say this was the moment I decided to explore my creativity now, because
But
I was
how you
always.
can, so like for example, for me, sometimes writing, I use some moments that I like to write or do different stuff. So what's your inspiration for start drawing?
I think music is the biggest one. Most of the things I posted were in one way or another inspired by either by some artist or their particular song. Yeah, say music and nature, which are basically like the most typical answers when people are asked about what inspires you. Most people would possibly answer like music and nature, but yeah, it's true.
Yes, yes, and music, because sometimes you just listen something and you just get connected with the words or with the
Yeah.
music also. So can I ask you what is exactly your job? So what do you do?
As a freelance artist, I just connect with all sorts of clients, depending on their needs. I sometimes create illustrations for them, sometimes animated sequences like the ones you can see on my page. One of the more recent projects, for example, was with a composer, and he was kind of organizing his. So he had a project. He composed a piece, and he needed some visuals to go with the piece, and he hired me to create those. So yeah, one of my favorite parts about my job is that it's very unpredictable. It's also the worst part because it's unpredictable financially speaking. One month you're very prosperous, and then the next month you
Yeah,
have no clients. But also,
yeah.
like on the more positive note, it's unpredictability in terms of who you connect with and what type of projects you come up with. So yeah, it can be all sorts of stuff, but mostly like digital art, illustration, animation.
Okay, yeah, I got it. And wow, and I just keep saying, please go to her page, her Instagram. Oh my goodness, you will enjoy. You can spend time and repeat the same video one more time, because it's beautiful. So it's just very, very, very interesting. You can see, wow, it's I love it. I really love it.
Thank
So
you.
thank you. No,
I'm glad.
Margarita,
I'm
thank
glad
you.
you like it.
And thank you for the time that you spent here. So I love this conversation, and I'm very grateful to have you now as part of my friends.
Oh, thanks for having me, and I'm honored to be one of your friends now. Yeah, it's been an amazing journey when it comes to the 30-day speaking challenge, but I'm also glad that we can continue our interactions after the challenge. So yeah, thanks so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely. Thank you. And for everybody, just take her life could be like your life. And doors are opening for you if you really want. And just take these kind of interviews just to see that everything is possible if you put that in your mind. Margarita, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.